Welcome to the Cute North Georgian podcast. I'm your host, Carly McCurry, senior editor of the Cute North Georgian magazine, here to celebrate everything that makes North Georgia unique and special. This is a podcast for North Georgians by North Georgians, where we can shine a spotlight on small businesses, local events, and the fascinating people of our community. Whether you're looking for something new to discover or simply love supporting small businesses, you're in the right place. So let's dive into the best of North Georgia together. I'm excited to welcome today's guest, Frank Wolf, owner of Elite Recovery Sports and Therapeutic Massage, and host of Caregiver Coffee and Chat in Cornelia. Welcome, Frank.
Thanks for having me.
So not only is Frank a mountain biker, veteran, and a committed father, but he's also actively involved in numerous community events such as the Marigold Festival and the Turkey Trot at Lake Russell. Today, we'll discuss how Frank is creating meaningful spaces for autism caregivers, building community support, and of course, his journey in recovery therapy. So let's start with Elite Recovery.
Okay.
Can you share the story of how Elite Recovery came to be?
So essentially, I started out in massage therapy about 6 years ago. Initially, I had North Georgia pediatric massage. I was strictly pediatric and strictly medical. And that kind of bloomed into a pediatric to geriatric focus with recovery and longevity as my focus in business.
Okay. So what inspired you to open a practice in Cornelia, and how's the community responded?
The community's been fantastic. Honestly, I was looking to start a business for a while, and I came across Commercial Executive Suites about a year and a half ago. Came in and met Amy. She toured me around and had the perfect spot tucked away in the back where it's quiet but accessible. And I signed on the spot and moved in and just went from there.
Yeah, and that's where we're at today. It's Commercial Executive Suites, and Amy, for the record, has a very strong headband game. So not only are you the founder of Elite Recovery, but you're also organizing an autism caregiver and coffee chat event at PSG in Cornelia. This seems like a super thoughtful and necessary initiative. Can you tell us a little more about why you created this space and what you hope it will offer for caregivers?
Yeah. So my youngest son, Aiden, is 16. He's on the spectrum. And he started out from by birth till about 5. He was nonverbal, not communicative pretty much at all. There was a period of time where his mother had custody for about 6 years. And while I was still in the military and transitioning out. And from that time until I really got to spend more time with him, he became verbal, he was more sociable, and it was interesting to watch his journey. From there, he moved in with me back in 2018. And I mean, I have a phenomenal community around me, my family, my parents, my good friends, and he's awesome. He's great. He has really strong goals for the future, great interests. He is surprisingly empathetic and engaged with people where he wasn't 3 or 4 years ago. And I just think it would be great to have a community of people to kind of pull him forward out of the shell and then also help others kind of come along and engage a little more.
Absolutely. And for the record, I am autistic. I was diagnosed with autism when I was a child. And I've had 4 different diagnoses.
Okay.
In the sense that it took a while, at least in the early 2000s, right, before the culture was ready to kind of accept autism, for me to accept that personally about myself. And it's only in the past few years that I've been openly autistic. And since then, it's definitely been, I've had much better relationships. I've learned so much more about how to control my own autistic behaviors. And moving forward, I try to, emphasize that there is room for autistic people in the workplace.
Well, and you say that because I saw you post online maybe 2 months ago that you were on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And part of Aiden's, he expresses a lot that he wants to have a job. He knows what he wants to do, where he wants to work. He wants to have a family. He wants to live independently. and then meeting you and seeing that you have successful business, you get married, you have a 1-year-old daughter, like all these things that he wanted to add up to. I don't know how to make that work and where to encourage him and where to prepare him. But it can be a very normal life. It's what you make normal.
Right. So we've talked before about how important it is to create supportive, understimulating environments, because so often, in this day and time, everything is so loud. Right? You go to a restaurant and there's loud live music. You go to a space and it's overwhelming fluorescent light. And everywhere has a screen. So, and this isn't impacting just for people with autism. And so it can be hard to find spaces where caregivers and persons with autism can go and be comfortable. So you're involved in so many community events. Everybody knows who Frank Wolf is. You're going to be doing, have a strong hand in the Marigold Festival. I know you're planning like a turkey trot at Lake Russell. How do you think events like these help bridge connections in the community, especially when you're focused on wellness and recovery?
Well, the Marigold Festival, honestly, with Zach Staggs,
Brainchild.
yeah, it's his baby. And I think we share a vision for a stronger community, for people to come together, and it's not just one demographic. It is everybody in Cornelia. And just after speaking to so many different people,
It's multi-generational.
it is, and it's multicultural. And you wouldn't know it just by in the downtown or one specific area. So finding a way for that all to kind of bridge together and grow in a cohesive way is what we're looking to do.
That's right, because Cornelia, I believe, is 45% Hispanic. And yet, you're right, when you look around, it feels underrepresented. Mm-hmm. And so I love the idea of being able to connect in a meaningful way, celebrating Dia de los Muertos, which is obviously very important with Mexican and Latin American culture, but also it's become very popular in American culture. You have movies like Coco, at the Level Grove Cemetery. I remember doing Dia de los Muertos. That's when they put up the lights around the graves, and they stay there. Actually, they linger, and it's so lovely to walk through. And it's becoming an event where I think we are able to have a meaningful, multi-generational, multicultural experience.
Yeah,
honoring ancestors, honoring culture, honoring tradition. Because I think that is something that Southerners and Hispanics, we have in common. We tend to honor our ancestors. We honor our traditions and our past.
Yeah.
And then the turkey trot.
Turkey trot, I mean, that ties into what I do beautifully. My goal with my business is not to make a bunch of money off of treating the same issue over and over again. I've seen a lot of people in pain clinics and on meds that don't need to be there, unnecessary surgeries. So my focus is getting them back to a point where they can function, teaching them how to strengthen their bodies so they can maintain and go on to live a happy, fulfilled, productive life, with some maintenance here and there when they need it. Running, fantastic. Walking, working out, any kind of activity that keeps you in somewhat shape is where we want to start and then move from there.
That's a great goal. So we've discussed how Cornelia needs more spaces where neurodivergent individuals feel comfortable, where they feel supported. And why do you think this kind of space is essential for this community? And how can we better prepare autistic individuals for meaningful roles in the workforce?
That's a great question. And so the coffee and chat isn't just my thing. You'll be on board, obviously. I'm going to butcher her name, Carrie Baruch, who I met at Planet Fitness. Owns a life coaching and personal training business. She has 2 kids on the spectrum. Sherry Crane, who I met through Matt with Axe Armory, has a son on the spectrum. So the goal is to have everybody come in, have a say, and have their needs met. I met with Whitney Kleinert over at the North Georgia Autism Foundation. He did Aiden's last assessment. At some point, she'll be more of a part of this, I'm hoping. She got us introduced to the STEPS program, which it's for 16 to 25-year-olds to transition them from high school into adulthood. So it's all these things that you can compile and kind of funnel these kids from birth up through high school with different steps and programs and supports, because everybody is different.
Oh yeah, there's a phrase I've heard. It says, when you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And so often people want to lump all autistic people together, but it's a spectrum.
And I can ramble through this, but honestly, I'm learning every day, even just with Aiden, like what he needs, and he grows and changes. And what I'm finding right now is he's not just dealing with autism or puberty. He's dealing with both of them.
Yes.
Which it's got to be a challenging place for him, and it's got to be confusing in his head to not be able to describe and explain how he feels to me, and I can't even begin to understand, how to relate to him in some ways. So we're figuring it out together, and it's a great thing because we're able to. We're in a position where my folks help us out a lot. I couldn't do a job and parent, on my own. So
that village.
It's a village, and I think that's the important thing about this cat community is you need that village, and some people don't have it. Some people do. So when you hit a point where you climb that ladder and you've gotten to a point where you figured some things out, you just have to reach back down and bring other people up with you. So it can trickle down, and more and more people will figure out how to do this.
Well, it's beautiful. It's a wonderful sentiment. So it's not uncommon for people to claim that they are tolerant of autistic individuals, but the reality often tells a different story. As seen in some hurtful comments circulating in a regional Facebook forum. Just the other day, and this is just a microcosm, but I think it's worth exploring. Just the other day, someone posted about the Blue Pumpkin Initiative, which encourages families with autistic children to use a blue pumpkin while trick-or-treating to signal that their behavior may be different from other children's behavior. So the post argues that autistic children shouldn't need to carry a blue pumpkin to receive acceptance from adults, and that adults should simply understand that not every child at their door is going to be the same, but that all deserve respect. And it reads as thus. So it says, PSA, the blue pumpkin posts are going around again. Just a friendly reminder that no child or their parent owes you access to their diagnosis for a piece of candy. The child should not have to carry a special colored pumpkin or bucket to set them apart from their peers so that your feelings as the adult are not hurt. So what we don't need to hear is, oh, are you shy? I guess you're not going to talk. I didn't hear you say trick or treat. Aren't you a little old for trick or treating? So unfortunately, many comments on the and this was a fairly innocuous post. It kind of made sense to me as I was reading it. Yeah. Sure, for a piece of candy, I don't think that kids should have to necessarily perform. Not all kids are the same. You're the adult in the room. You should be modeling respect. Is it really something that you have to hear? Do you have to hear trick or treat, to give up your piece of candy? So as I read it, I thought this is a non-issue. But then I look at the comments, and some of them were truly just vile. right? Highlighting why the unemployment rate, why the violence against autistic individuals is so high. It also reveals that despite the growing number of supportive memes and social media posts, if the basic needs of autistic children still aren't understood, we have a long way to go before people with autism can fully thrive and function in society without facing prejudice. I mean, if they can't even get a piece of trick-or-treat candy without adults jumping down their throat, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean about where we're at?
Well, I know the group you're talking about, and you can't find a post in there that doesn't have an argument just like blasting through. So, it's interesting.
And a few comments too that they made, right? So they say, and I thought it was actually like it explores a lot of views. It's a bit of a microcosm, like I said, a bit of a petri dish.
Yeah.
So that we can see kind of the inner workings of how a lot of people think, right? You look at the statistics, and I think this is like a living, breathing example of those stats. So like someone wrote, trick-or-treating is not a human right.
Yeah.
LMAO, trick-or-treating, it's easy to understand. It's not complicated. You get dressed up, knock on doors, say trick-or-treat, and get candy. It's that simple. Don't screw it up like y'all did Christmas, which I'm really confused about. As an autistic person, like y'all did Christmas, what did we do at Christmas? Was there an autistic symposium? Was there a meeting of the autistics to ruin Christmas? Because A, I want to know where my invitation was.
Yeah.
And B, I want to know how we messed up Christmas. Did you hear about
I did not
the Christmas Autism Symposium?
I don't know how you messed up Christmas. That's interesting. I really want to read this thread now.
Yes.
See what everybody said.
Just type in blue pumpkins.
Life is not that serious.
Right? It's just give them the piece of candy, guys.
And it goes to adults versus this new generation of kids. So I've had this conversation a million times in the past couple of weeks. I can't go anywhere that kids don't say hi. I go to school for orientations. We do chorus concerts, all these things. And from the cheerleaders on down, like everybody says hi and is kind and supportive. And we'll be walking down the road and there'll be kids that like scream out the window, "What's up, Aiden?"
He seems popular.
Well,
I've met him, and
he's a walking
social, and he's a social butterfly.
He is, but it's just interesting because I wasn't on the spectrum, and that was not my high school experience at all.
Right.
If someone was yelling at me going down the road, it was not nice.
Mm-hmm. And in the early 2000s, people were not nice to the autistic.
No, I was like, okay, but everybody has their opinions on generations, from Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, whatever we're at now. But I do think one thing that I've noticed is younger generations are more tolerant, accepting, in my experience, of differences. So I have hope in that. I don't have a lot of hope in the people that post online all the time because they're angry about something that happened 2 years ago at Christmas that ruined their day, and they're holding on to it.
And their pieces of candy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny because some of these individuals, you can tell, like, they were trying to help, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, one person wrote, "We're planning to give out full candy bars," which, bravo.
Yeah.
But then they go on to say, "I don't care if your kid is Helen Keller and only screams. They're still getting a candy bar. Go enjoy that thing." And I know that they're trying there. So
yeah.
They get more credit than this next lady that says, "Why do moms think the world should stop to accommodate certain people? You can't expect the world to tiptoe around your child. Once you're gone, the world will run them over and leave them in tears. Stop telling people to tiptoe around the 1%. Teach the 1% of kids what to expect from the 99%. Like, maybe this lady is like taking a dump truck and running over autistic kids, emotionally. But
can we say her name? Because I'll respond to her right now.
I won't say her name. That's just, these people are my neighbors.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I trust the mental stability and health of the individual that takes some of these perspectives.
All right. So
that could be a whole new podcast episode.
no, the world is not going to be kind to your child when they get older. It is it's my job to prepare Aiden for that. He knows life isn't fair. I don't coddle him. You know, I don't talk to him like he's an idiot. I don't talk to him like he's a child. I talk to him age appropriate, and we have conversations. And there are some things that happen that just aren't fair, and I'm not going to change it because he has to understand. Because at some point, he will be on his own. He will be his own man. And I want him to handle things like a grown man. At the same time, it's a child. Do we need to just throw everything on them at one time? Give them candy. Give them space. Let them have fun. Let them enjoy life. You only have so much time to really enjoy your life.
Right.
So just give them the time, give them the space, let them grow, let them be. If it's a problem, like last person said, and I'm sure my website will be up at the end of this, you are welcome to shoot me an email. Let it go. If it's that big a deal, just don't do it. But it needs to stop being such polarizing place. Like the internet's wild.
Oh, it's a lot less.
And most of these people wouldn't come out and say this to your face.
Right.
But it's easy to say it from the comfort of your home, behind your keyboard or your phone. And it's like, step outside your house. The sun shines. It's beautiful. And people are great.
They are.
So,
and I believe that.
You know?
I do. And, unfortunately, there's places where we are trying as a society to be as good as the memes we share. Right. Okay. So we share memes about inclusivity with autism. We share memes about, about connecting and connection. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're not quite as good as our memes, but hopefully the memes will help motivate us to be, better. And I think they are. I think that, while the internet can spread the inner thoughts of people like this who are unfortunately, maybe they're bosses at work, maybe they're in positions of authority in the county. There's also that positive messaging that, as you said, is really connecting with the younger generation of people.
Yeah. And maybe they did have an experience that is sticking with them. But we can full circle this back to the Marigold Festival or a 5K or whatever events may be coming up. Get out, get in the community, meet different people. I have values and I have beliefs, but they don't stop me from treating somebody like a person, an individual who deserves respect until they've shown me they don't deserve respect. Right. And, at the end of the day, your rights don't end with my beliefs and opinions. So we've got to stop being so narrow-minded in how we treat people based on a bias or words escape me right now. A prejudice. And
treating people
and understand that you don't have to be just like me or fit in my mold for me to like you. Because if that was the case, most people would not like me. Because I don't fit in a certain mold. And I'm grateful for my friends who accept me for how I am and who want to include me in all these great events that are coming up. And let me be part of this community because it's a fantastic community. Yeah. And it's growing in a great way. And I think we have enough business owners downtown to make such a huge impact on what Cornelia becomes. And so many great high schoolers coming up, college students, just everybody. Who, if we just sit down together, we can make this a great place and it won't be so hostile behind the scenes.
Candy.
Yeah, about candy. Or Christmas. I'll tell you offline what you guys did about Christmas.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Let's talk about parenting.
Okay.
We'll talk a little bit about mountain biking and balancing work, family life, and your own private.
Okay.
So often I remember when I was in college, I saw a triangle, right? And at the top it said sleep, and then it said social life, and then it said work/school.
Okay.
And so often it does feel like you have to pick two. But you seem like you've got the full triangle kind of going on. The work, the social life, and the parenting.
I have you fooled. So
Oh, good. Okay.
No, like I really social life's fantastic. I mean, part of my job, I get to go around and just talk.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my clients talk while we're in the room and I'm working. So that's great. Mountain biking is the way I've lost. I don't do it nearly as much as I did 2 years ago, but when I get out, it's fantastic. It's fun. You're in nature and you're just in your zone. Um, parenting is challenging. Like I said, my folks, I moved in with my parents, Aiden and I did probably about 7 months ago, just because I couldn't do it. There's no balance between work and home with him being home from school. And, I want to be there with him. So having that support system built in with my folks where he can go home, settle in, not get ripped away around 6 to go home for dinner and get a whole new routine going on. It's been amazing.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so nothing I do has been on my own. I have lucked into everything in my life. And I've been very fortunate and I've had great people around me. So that's how it looks like everything is all put together. Because I have a whole crew behind the scenes working to make sure my life stays on the trajectory I'm trying to keep it.
I often feel the same way.
Yeah.
I look around and like, I did so little of this when I look at the things that I love in my life. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I feel like I kind of got in the way of all the good things. It's like all the good things happen in spite of me rather than because of me. Mm-hmm. So as a mountain biker, are you a veteran?
I'm a veteran.
That's right. Okay. You're a mountain biker, you're a veteran, you're a camper. How do you balance your active lifestyle with, the more sedentary aspects of business?
I walk as much as I can throughout the day. Actually, I walk everywhere around town during the workday. If I'm on a phone call, I'm moving. Clients are great because I'm moving around, I'm working with them, then we're doing stretches, we're exercising. So I don't sit still very well. This is probably the longest I've been still in a long time, which is why this job fits me so well. Yeah, I mean.
So you'd be a very jittery administrative assistant.
I couldn't do all.
Oh yeah.
At all. I like being outside. Mm-hmm. If I could do my job outside, I'd do it all.
I have so much respect for people that can focus like that.
Yeah.
And see to the details. And oh my goodness, I tried it. It lasted 6 weeks. I was the worst administrative assistant in the world. Could not get anything right because I just could not focus in that space. So let's take a moment to dive into some of your personal experiences. Okay. So I'm going to give you some scenarios, and I want you to share how you might approach. Yes. So it's a quiet Sunday morning, and you're taking some time for yourself. What activity helps you recharge for that week ahead?
Recharging for the week ahead. Oh man, it depends on the week. I do like coffee on the porch and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Coffee and a cigar. Right, you're a cigar smoker, right?
Do cigars, not so much in the morning. I'll do a cigar around the fire pit at night.
Sure. I heard yesterday, I was interviewing Rich and Savvy's Cigar Lounge.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of this before, but coffee and cigars apparently go together really well.
They do.
So you like that combination? Mm-hmm. I've actually heard from what Rich said, he said it's actually better than like bourbon, right? A nice espresso
Yeah.
with a cigar. I can kind of feel that, but I remembered that you liked cigars, and we were talking the other day about how smokers or people that smoke cigars, right? How people are so mean to me, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like they are the most. I am not someone that smokes, but I feel for my smoking brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
Because so often, like, if someone had to share a bench, and this isn't as bad in the South as it is in some other parts of the country,
Okay.
but like, if someone had to share a bench with like someone that smokes a cigar,
Mhm.
then, and they had to choose between like sitting with a smoker or sitting with a great white shark, 9 times out of 10, I feel like they'd pick like the great white shark.
Yeah.
It's such an unfair stigma.
Well,
They make these poor bastards walk 100 yards or so,
yeah.
you know, in the rain just to indulge in their habit while they're swilling martinis.
Right.
You know, talking about these smokers that have been banished to the netherworld.
Yeah. I remember growing up, there were ashtrays and Wendy's and McDonald's. So
I remember that.
it's vastly different now versus then. No, I don't have a big issue. Working Savvy is a great little lounge.
Super
Good
cozy.
selection of cigars, good drinks. Rich is really personable. I normally go to Smitty's down in Gainesville.
Mhm.
It's a little bit bigger, a little wider selection. But yeah, that's kind of where I go to do it if I'm not at home.
Yeah.
Actually, over at Community Brewing Tap, they have a little smoking patio. Mhm.
That's fun.
A small humidor with really good cigars. They'll pair different cocktails with it. I'm sure you could do a coffee with it over there.
That's very cool.
But yeah, that's something I enjoy. But as far as winding down and prepping for a week, really Sunday is my day to go grocery shopping for Abe's lunches,
Mhm.
read up on things for the week, get my calendar ready, and just kind of focus where I dive in.
I have a rule when it comes to grocery shopping, and that is that nobody comes with me.
Okay.
So
It's a lot cheaper that way.
well, that yes. Anytime my husband comes with me, it is always twice whatever we would have spent otherwise.
Yeah.
But also, like that is my time to grocery shop with my podcast in silence. It's my that is my I guess recharge as well.
Okay.
Although not on Sundays, because every time I go to Ingles on a Sunday, the produce section is non-existent.
Yeah.
And I'm taking this time, I'm calling you out, Ingles produce ladies and gentlemen. All right? I want more produce selection in your department.
Yeah.
Okay? So, what is your go-to way to relax? I just lost all of the Ingles demographic from the Keep Martin.
Yeah. That is a whole podcast we can do on grocery shopping.
Absolutely.
Hours.
Oh, goodness. What's your go-to way to relax and bond with your family?
So, until recently, every night at dinner, we would watch Wheel of Fortune, and that all changed when Pat Sajak retired, and Aiden's just not on board anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
many people aren't.
No, yeah, it's definitely not the same. And I'm an old man, and I'm traditional, so Pat Sajak is the way. But really, we eat dinner together, and it could be around a TV show, it could be around a conversation. And Aiden is very into collecting VHS tapes now, and he's really into Mean Girls, the movie. So I'm holding out, I'm watching it.
You still haven't seen it?
I still have not seen it.
Oh,
I'm digging my heels in.
Wow.
I'm very stubborn.
It's not that bad. It's pretty good. It's pretty funny.
I'm really stubborn, but
Uh-oh.
we'll see. At some point, I'm sure I'll watch it. But really, just listen to him talk about his day. Like, that's
my hyperfixation when I was a teenager was the Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
And I was obsessed. I mean, just obsessed. Every conversation was about Phantom of the Opera. Knew every word of the movie, of the soundtrack. And my father was resistant to watching Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
And I think we had a good year of tug of war, and I finally broke him down. I finally broke him down. Yeah. We did. We finally watched Phantom of the Opera, and that was the end of it. It was almost like that was like, all right, every single objective that I wanted to meet with this fixation has been met with
Okay,
Tom's capitulation.
there you go.
So
you're also stubborn.
I can relate. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can relate to the hyperfixations. It's a real thing, and unfortunately, we like to bring other people down with us.
Well,
All right, so you're out on the trails for a day of mountain biking. What's going through your mind as you push yourself physically while staying connected to nature?
I mean, going uphill, the only thing in my mind is how much this have to this up. And I would like to turn around and go home. But no, it really is. It's a mindful exercise at the end of the day. So obviously, there's a physical challenge that I enjoy, but I will stop. I'm fasting my mushrooms. So I will stop and take pictures of mushrooms or cool flowers, whatever, what may happen. So in the downhill, it's just fun. It's a thrill of going fast and pushing myself outside my comfort zone.
Rapid fire question. So answer in 3 to 5 words. What's the first thing you do every morning? When you first wake up. All right, smart. Favorite mountain biking trail in North Georgia?
Is Gainesville, North Georgia?
Yeah.
All right. Chickadee Woods would be my go-to.
Okay. Favorite restaurant in North Georgia? Yeah, that's a tough one.
I really do like community brewing fast.
They're delicious.
I'm going to change my answer to favorite mountain biking trail. Will be Bull and Jay. That's my favorite one.
Okay, Bull and Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what advice would you give to caregivers raising a child with autism?
Be patient and give yourself grace.
All right, so are there any upcoming events or promotions at Elite Recovery or in the community that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Okay, so I don't have a date set specifically, but beginning Tuesday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., we're going to have a 1-hour stretch class. It will be $10 to participate in. Bring your mats. I'm going to provide coffee from BSG. And so that will be a weekly thing for the foreseeable future. October 10th, I'm doing a nutrition class with Elise Abernathy.
Yeah, she's super
Yeah,
nice.
she's fantastic. And hopefully at some point soon, I will do another stretch clinic with Brooke Torelli from HFIT PT. So all the clinics in the evenings are free, and we'll have a sign up to RSVP to one specific email address, just to get people out there to figure out easy, quick nutrition at home for busy parents or professionals. Simple stretches to keep you mobile. I'll be doing a strength training class. I'm not sure who I'm going to be pulling in on that one yet, but I'm trying to do it where it's myself and a female, so we can kind of get perspectives for anybody that comes in.
Absolutely. So I know you're passionate about giving back. Again, like everybody knows Frank. Are there any collaborations or community initiatives that you're particularly excited?
Very excited about Marigold Festival.
Mm-hmm.
To see what that will be this year.
I agree. I'm excited.
To see who it brings out. It's just, I'm really excited about that and what he does, and just what he's done with BFG Coffee, and it's just such a great little community meeting spot. It really is.
I've met so many people there.
Yeah,
that's how we met. Yeah,
and you go in there, and Zach's fantastic. He's personable. He'll talk to you. He'll spend all day with you. If you want to.
Part therapist, part barista.
Exactly. But every employee he has is the same way. So it's not like if Zach is gone, we lose the field. He built a great little community base.
He did. Every single person there is so kind, personable, funny, the full trifecta. They make a great coffee.
Yeah. I've also gotten a chance to work with Alex at the Chamber of Commerce. He's pulling me into Kiwanis. So I'm excited to see what we can do for the kids in the community as a group going forward.
So Amy has a strong headband game. Alex has a strong, outfit game, right? She is.
Yeah.
And her outfits are stunning. They're always cool, kind of edgy, but still professional. It's a line I try to ride myself, but I end up just in tweed. So
Yeah.
the history major runs deep in me.
It's all good. And then speaking of Amy, man, I have never seen somebody who worked so hard and is always so genuinely friendly.
Yeah, I've seen her all around tabs. I've seen her here, obviously, but I've also seen her like painting something or fixing something in the telephone booth by vendors. I've seen her giving orders, I believe, at Farmacia.
Yeah.
I mean, she is just all over this town all the time. Again, always with the headband game.
Yeah. She's awesome.
All right, guys. So thank you so much, Frank, for joining us today and for sharing your story. It's been a real pleasure. To our listeners, please don't forget to like and subscribe Frank's social media. You're on Facebook and Instagram, right?
I am.
And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Cute Neurodivergent magazine on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Podbean. Thank you, guys.